Testing, testing. Check, check. Testing, testing. Check, check. Hello, people. I'm just spreading the old stream link around a bit. I will get started on some model goodness very soon. How's everyone doing tonight? Thanks for coming to my first stream of 2024. Just about ready here. Listen to the soothing clacks of me clicking the mouse, I guess. Okay, that looks good. Hello, John Bear. Welcome. Make sure that went through. And on the Instagram. Okay, now I'm just grabbing my notepad here because I need to make sure I remember before the end of this stream. I need to schedule a stream for tomorrow. Probably gonna be in the morning, but not like super early morning because it is a Saturday after all. Okay. Right. I think that's all I need to do. Oh yeah, and I have a tab open on my, I might as well add that to the notes too. Do you guys know, or do you all know the raid function that Twitch has? Where you, like when you're done your stream, you can send your viewers to someone else who's already streaming. I discovered this, not this year, a while ago that, here, let me lower the screen. Hopefully you can see me all right there. I'm wearing my Ken shirt. There was so there's a raid-like function in the YouTube live streaming zone. So I said to myself, all right, I accidentally, I didn't see when Country Fried Minis was starting their stream tonight, and I was like, well, maybe if they're still streaming by the time I'm done, I can do the raid function. So I'll be awkwardly like clicking around looking for that at the end of this stream. It's not called raid, obviously. It's called something else. I just can't remember. You know, it's the new year. It's a bit of a slow start back. Well, I won't crack the Coke yet. I'll wait for some more people to stream in. I'll start getting the painting bits ready though. And I had to do a lot of just make sure I can see this. I had to do a lot of... Yeah, I'm just being distracted now because preferences changed in my streaming software because I had to reset my computer. So that was fun. So, you know, I had to reinstall all the software again and set all that up. It's not as tedious as it used to be in the pre-cloud computing days, but it's still tedious. Got somewhat fresh paper towel just for the stream. And despite not having done much streaming for the last little while, I have still been painting. If you're a patron, you would see that. Subtle Patreon plug, Liam. Wow. Let's put this like here, actually. And it looks like my background is a little too dark. I'm just gonna angle my fancy color changing lights a bit. What do y'all think of the color changing lights, by the way? That's somewhat of a new addition. I just, you know, inherited some of those Wi-Fi controlled color changing light bulbs. Oh, I know, it'll make it look even cooler, actually. What particular box art? It's highlighting a variety of box art, actually. Looks like one of the color changing lights has stopped changing, though. I'll have to keep my eye on that. The software's a little finicky. I don't know how old the bulbs are. They're hand-me-downs. Well, we got 6 viewers here, so I think that's worthy of the can crack. Just making sure the focus is working. And, yeah, let me know if you need me to turn up the mic volume or anything. Alright. So here's, I've got 12 of these. Oh, that's a burp already. I can't forget the burp counter. That was a new addition from late last year. Burp 1. This is a regiment of 12 rangers total. The Imperial Ranger Corps from the 100 Kingdoms. Pretty cool models. This one has a bit too much matte varnish on it as the test model, so I got 3 here that I've already started working on. This was just the one to test and figure out the color scheme. And yeah, I like to paint things in smaller batches as part of a larger batch, because, you know, if I painted like an assembly line of all 12 guys, that would just be a lot, you know? And probably start things off with some nice relaxing goblin green. And looks like the camera angle could use a bit of an adjustment. And just making sure I'm not bumping too much into the desk here. Probably get away with moving this a bit lower. Alright, and then the camera could be just a tad brighter. Alright. So how was everyone's holiday season, if you had a holiday? Did you get any cool Gunpla or minis for Crimbus? Well, we can start off with this very haggard brush. Because this will be good for just putting a lot of paint on the brush to just get the cloak painted fast. Also, burp 2. I think the mic needs to be a bit closer to my face. Let me mute the mic. Right, I have to unmute the mic. I was saying that I don't know if that's much better, but I'll take it for now. We're doing some experimenting in 2024, you know. Well, we'll see how that is. That is looks like a decent amount closer. Let's compensate a bit by turning the mic volume down just a tad. Check, check. All right, well, just let me know how that sounds, people. Let's actually put some paint down on ye old wet palette. Looks like there's a bit of separation happening there, making it a slightly funky color, which is normal. And the last streams I did last year were the Iron-Blooded Orphans diorama. And then the ones before that were Spires. So if any of you were wondering or worried about me being like not doing any Gunpla anymore, that's not true. I definitely am still doing Gunpla. But you know me, ever since my entire time on YouTube has been like the whole doing minis and Gunpla at the same time and not just sticking to one hobby has always been there. And that's only my brand of doing that has only been reinforced more in the last year. This green is looking nice and goblin-y, wouldn't you say, folks? How many people watching do we have who from the mini painting side of things, perhaps the conquest side of things, and how many people are here because they watched my Gunpla stuff? If you remind me later when I'm taking a painting break, I can show you some of the Gundam or Gunpla whip work in progress stuff I have off to the side of me in my room here. Could talk about them, perhaps. Perhaps show off some painted models that only the patrons have seen so far. Or the patrons and some locals. And I'm not really painting the edges of these spots when I'm using this big inaccurate brush just because it's big and inaccurate. And there is some brown, like, or yeah, there's obviously more than, there's a couple browns and khakis on here as a base coat already, so we can't be getting too messy. Also, the camera's looking laggy. Let's give it the old turn it on and off again. Alright, well, let's just move on to the next one. We'll do the large areas of the cape all at once, because those will need multiple coats. Well, it'll all need multiple coats, probably. This goblin green is like, or like the Vallejo game color goblin green is the, does get you the classic goblin green vibe, but it's not, its coverage isn't as good as how I remember my original pot of goblin green, you know, decades ago. Totally objective paint review there. But you know, nothing wrong with just keeping up the old too thin coats practice. I'm not thinning this that much, but I am a little. And if anyone here is used to watching me paint Gunpla, my approach to painting minis is a little different, because most of my, or the mini painting I have been doing primarily has always been for like painting for tabletop games. So when you got a lot of minis to paint, that the priority is more to just get them done consistently than to like go like painting competition mode on each one. Sometimes I'll, you know, I like trying, going into try hard mode or whatever you want to call it on like big monsters and stuff, or certain leader models. But you know, when you got 12 rangers to paint, you can't dilly-dally on every single model. I like dilly-dallying on the like leader and standard bearer of the unit. A bunch of the painting I did, well, I wouldn't say off camera because I recorded some of it, but like off stream painting that I did recently, I painted a bunch of not a bunch, I painted some just like nice fun flowing capes, and I've been looking forward to painting this unit of rangers. I've known that it's going to be one of the more tedious units to paint just because they are decently detailed, but they all have like long flowing capes, and painting long flowing capes is fun, so. Ooh, burp 3. This model should have been brushed off for dust before putting the paint on. Gotta remember to update the burp counter. And yeah, I don't, there are just like, with painting units of infantry, I just accept there's gonna be imperfections, and there's 12 models in this unit or regiment, and the imperfections don't really get noticed when you're in like a rank and flank game, or just like an army of miniatures in general. And that's what's cool about painting armies versus painting display pieces. Hello, Sparkster. My holiday and New Year was pretty low-key and chill. What about you? I've been playing a decent amount of Baldur's Gate 3. Anyone else? You know, it's a game that's been pretty popular this year, I hear. You know, for my first playthrough, I'm doing what I feel is probably the typical thing of like exploring every nook and cranny and like collecting all the fun little items and doing well, I've been calling it my maximum friendship run. I'm like, I don't want any companions to kill each other. I don't want to kill any companions. You know, aside from, I guess it's a good playthrough, so I did kill Minthara. You know, gotta get the owlbear cub and shovel and scratch. You gotta go to an NBA game. High and excited. Yeah, that's, I can imagine. I don't know how excited I would be at one of them sports ball games, but sounds like a fun time either way. My problem with going to sports ball games is I just don't know what's going on. I was gonna say, like, bring me to a Warhammer tournament, but I'm like, at a Warhammer tournament, I don't play any of the current games, so I mean, I guess I would kind of know what's going on, but I would have zero information about the meta. I can tell you about the conquest meta, or at least at my local store. Okay, time to switch to the smaller brush, I think. Yeah, it is a lot more exciting without commercial breaks. I didn't think of that. Those damn commercial breaks, I tell ya. Oh, well, let's use this brush, and I think we need to bring our reference model a bit closer just so I mean, it's a reference model for this specific body in the unit. There's a few different bodies, and they have, like, similar looking clothes, but, like, not the same kinds of buckles and studs and sleeves and all that. Makes them a pretty interesting group of models to paint, but makes it take a little bit longer. So this guy, it's like we just did, I guess, his scarf and sleeves and, like, pants. So we already painted this guy's pants khaki, but we got the, like, back part. You know, according to this, that should stay brown. The boots could probably be black. So I guess they don't all have to. Oh, here, we can paint this part of the sleeve green. Yeah. And then that's probably it. The way the pants look, it's like, it looks like there are some other straps there, but I think I might just leave it all as khaki for simplicity's sake. Alright, so it looks like just the sleeves is what's being green on this guy. How am I doing with the camera focus? I wasn't really paying attention to the monitor there, so it could have been out of focus for all those close-ups. Oh yeah, I need to I need to update the burp counter, and now, because I burped while saying that twice, so that brings us to 4 important stream content there. Okay, anyways, painting. Okay, we do have a bit of a metal stud there. I suppose because of the title I gave this stream, should try and figure out which of the batch of painting today looks the most like Aragorn, and then when it comes to picking that one's skin and hair color, we could go for some Aragorn looking ones. When it comes to painting skin, I'm like, I don't see I have very low confidence in painting skin, and I just kind of wing it every time. I don't have a recipe. And when I've got an army of humans, I like to paint it like, you know, diverse, or on the more diverser side, in the sense I don't do the same skin color for each single person. I try and add just random variety. Like I said, I just kind of wing it, and then it's a setting of fantasy humans, so, and I'm choosing my own colors. There's so many to do, so it's more about it's like I need to get the skin just looking okay from a distance and get the eyes good enough that they don't look cross-eyed, and that's more than enough for tabletop quality. Some people just one skin color across the entire face, one wash, done. And I've done that too. That's totally valid. Oftentimes the people who do that are like the ones with the fully painted armies at the game store, and everyone's looking up at awe upon them. Is anyone else doing any hobby stuff tonight? Oh boy, trying to figure out your own airbrush. Is that a Crimbus gift, perhaps? Airbrushes are intimidating. Not gonna lie, they do have a bit of a learning curve, but they're a very powerful tool in many hobbyists' arsenals. Whoops. I kind of regret assembling this unit of rangers with the arrows like this, because it was a fantastic model kit because of all it came with so many option parts for different units and all that. But I mean, you can kind of tell from this arrow on this model, it's snapped and been glued once already, and I think it's happened to 2 other ones in this unit. And it looks cool to have these like really finely, like really thin pieces of plastic. It makes the models like interesting, but it's a bit stressful carrying them around with such a breakable part, which can be said for many minis. That's why there's a whole section of the tabletop games market just for like army transport solutions, whether it be foam or magnet based or clamp based. There's some pretty creative things out there. You're having trouble with the paint to water thinner mixture? Yeah, it's hard to figure out. Especially because, like, your PSI matters, your brand of paint matters. Like, if I'm using Vallejo, and sometimes or for a while I was having airbrush problems. This was before I started YouTube. I was having airbrush problems, and I tried so many like different ratios and brands until I eventually figured out, oh no, it was my compressor that was the problem. Because I had it like fully cranked to max, so I thought it would be spraying enough PSI, but it wasn't, because it had gotten old enough that it just didn't spray out the PSI that it used to. So then I got a more heavy duty compressor, and the problem was fixed, but I had to drop a decent amount of money on that. But it was about, like, I was just starting to get into Gunpla too, so it was about time I got oh, burp 5. It was about time I got a beefier compressor anyways. But yeah, for my basic like priming, I use Vallejo Surface Primer Black, and that doesn't have to be thin to go in the airbrush, but what I do is I put a drop of flow improver in the cup, then I put the surface primer in the airbrush cup, and then what do I do next? Then I put like 1 or 2 more drops of flow improver in the cup with the paint in it, give it just like a really quick stir, and usually my priming goes pretty well that way. And this is with when I'm just doing like basic priming or like a base coat of metallics, I'll use my single action Pash airbrush, which is like a much more simple mechanism because it's single action. I have an Iwata Neo as well, but it's been kind of temperamental lately, so I haven't used it much. I can like have some okay sessions with it sometimes, but something's wrong with it, or something like one of the O-rings needs to be replaced, I think, and yeah, I just haven't gone around to fixing it because I only really use that one for like when I need to do something that's more than just a base coat. And my painting style, usually I only need the airbrush for the initial like priming and like 1 base coat, and that's it. So I haven't had really much incentive to go to one of the places in town that would have replacement airbrush parts, or like an airbrush guy there that I could talk to and like troubleshoot with, because I know there's at least one art store where I live that does that. But yeah, I'm so not like, I am very minimal when it comes to my airbrush use. So I'm just like, I could put in all that time and energy to get the airbrush working in like proper working order. It's like, or I could just keep painting stuff with the brush, which I like, because this is like an enjoyable part of the hobby for me. Airbrushing can be a little stressful for me. Gamma Wolf's video when? Good question. When any video. It's a mystery. I guess that flap there we should leave brown to match the coat accordingly. Just need to get into the awkward like inside part of the cape. I'm not practicing good brush hygiene. I'm definitely getting paint in the ferrule, but this is when I'm doing the basic mini painting, a lot of time I use the crappier brushes. I have like, you know, I keep the nice brushes in a separate drawer for when I need that extra fine control or blending ability or what have you. But any great painter can get some great work done with the crappiest of brushes. It's just a lot more frustrating to paint with them. Yeah, next Gamma Wolves video. I do want to do I want to do multiple battle reports in 2024 if I can. It's just a question of what I end up having to do for work to pay the bills and groceries, because those are so expensive. I'm sure many of you can relate. But hey, by watching this stream and liking my videos, blah blah blah, self-promotion helps support me. That maybe can get me a little bit of, you know, that if I do well in the algorithm, maybe my videos generate a little extra cheddar. Who knows? Well, now I'm thinking I could paint the jacket green. No, I don't think I'm going to. I'm gonna have to find some. I need to find something else for the belts. That's what I need to do. I'm just talking out loud my color separation musings. Sorry, the mini probably wasn't in focus that well there. I think the green base coat on this guy's cape is done, and it's looking quite nice on him. I think it's his color. The Neo is what you have. If it, yeah, it's just remember that if your compressor is, like, the lower your PSI is, the thinner your paint needs to be. And if you just thin it with water, it's like, can be a little tricky to get a good result. Sorry, it took me a while to respond to that. You sent that a while ago. I have the back to Gamma Wolves for a quick sec. I do have the next Gamma Wolves project, like, or I'd say I have the 2 next Gamma Wolves crew members are like, the ideas for them are firmly solidified in my head. One of them is pretty obvious. I'll give you a minute to try and guess what the next Gamma Wolves crew member would be, and if you're up to date on the lore, that would be the one that's on the team with the filigree freehand ones. So the Gushin Kit Bash, known as the Martellus, and the Gundam Ariel, which is it's technically a Kit Bash, but it's such a minor one, you might as well just call it the Ariel and call it a day. How do I paint the Gamma Wolves models without brush strokes? A lot of thin coats, but it can't be too thin, because if it's too thin, you paint it on and the paint starts pooling and looking bad in certain areas. And there are brush strokes on a lot of my Gamma Wolves. You just have to, like, zoom in a bit to see them. I just, like, there's lots of edge highlighting and glazing on top of it that kind of distracts from the brush strokes, but you can't really paint without getting at least a little bit of brush strokes. Like, if you're painting white, yellow, orange, you know, bright or lighter colors like that, it's a lot harder to get rid of the brush strokes. So I guess, like, how many coats did you do when you were doing your hand painting? Oops, sorry, bumped the mic there. I added a bit of a foam sock to the end of it, so probably didn't sound as harsh, I hope. You can kind of see an area on the bottom of the cape here where there's too much paint put on. Became a bit of a gloopy mess. But yeah, it's on the underside of the cape, so not very noticeable, you could say. Oh, looks like the camera's glitching out a bit. Oh, it really bumped the mic there. And then the mic arm hit the camera arm, and you're all dizzy now. Okay, let's reset the camera. Oh, I never updated the burp counter to 5. Ah, poor gun tank. Yeah, if you did 3 layers and there's still brush strokes, I mean, maybe your paint wasn't thin enough. Guess maybe using like natural hair brushes can help sometimes, but also Gunpla is like extra unforgiving when it comes to brush strokes because you do get a lot of like flat armor panels. You know, like the flatter something is, the more obvious the brush strokes are gonna look. Okay. Oh, this guy, we got just a little bit of green paint showing that we could paint. I'm not sure, actually. I'm gonna come back to that one. Had a bit too much paint on my brush there. I am a bit curious to try out the new premium line of Army Painter paints. I think they're called War Colors. I can't remember. It's like a new formulation they have it looks like it's like very pigment rich. They had a bunch of the popular professional painters, you know, sent review copies that they were posting a decent amount about back in the fall. Yeah, I think a lot of us remember when Army Painter was first hitting the market, their paints were like pretty mediocre, but my first like use for them was with Army Painter Strong Tone, which is one of their washes, which I still use a ton and like that. But now it seems like they're just like regular lines of paint are a lot better. Let's remember to take up the old burp counter. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot I needed to complain to you all about how cold it is where I am right now, because if you didn't know, I'm in Canada. I'm in like the Midwest of Canada. And with the wind chill, it was like negative 40 degrees Celsius today. It's a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, maybe some of the jerkins that these lads are wearing just end up having less green than others. So I was just looking at this one, I'm having the same dilemma of color choice that I did with the last one. And I think it's fine if it's just the cape. It's still pretty prominent. Still becomes a very prominent color on the model. It is the whole cape after all. Hard to reach areas in here. Yeah, the sleeves on these guys look kind of... The details are a little unclear. It's like kind of looks like there's some string, separate string in there, but it's hard to tell whether it's like meant to be all one cloth or not. Well, and then we got this kind of cloth around the base of his head. I think we can do that. We'll do that green. And then I think I'll repaint this guy's pants green. Just for fun. It's hard to find Games Workshop paint and Vallejo at my place. Yeah, that's fair. If you're stuck using like cheaper stuff, it's quite possible the coverage is just a lot, like, not as good as Games Workshop or Vallejo. I find a lot of time Games Workshop and Vallejo are like pretty similar quality, but not all the times. Sometimes Games Workshop, that extra price you paid does feel like it gives you something, but sometimes it's like, I can't believe I paid this much for this paint. I could have just got the Vallejo. Whereas Vallejo, in my experience, just tends to be a lot more consistent, which is pretty important. Okay, now I gotta circle back to this one that I couldn't decide the color blocking on. Gun plus specialist paint at Hobby Lobby. Like, which ones? Oh, I forgot to paint the collar on that guy. A nice catch. I don't know if it's the right color to paint it, but I'm committing. I mean, there is no right color to paint it, which is the truth. Been thinking about switching up my sleeping schedule for the winter time. And just like going goblin mode and staying up into the... becoming a nocturnal creature. More so than I already am. Try the Brandon Sanderson sleep schedule, if you know what I mean. But then again, I do have some desire, or I do like being up in the mornings to a certain degree, and you know, with my recent return to streaming now, I have been considering doing some morning streams. I think that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow evening I have plans, but... burp 7. But perhaps I can, like, you know, just stream tonight, get a solid streaming in, and then just leave everything set up and just immediately stream again in the morning. So it's like one long stream broken up with sleep in the middle. As I get back into the swing of things this year, I'm sure I'll settle on some kind of rough schedule. But, you know, knowing me, it'll be a very soft schedule in terms of, like, flexibility. Char Red, for example. What brand is that? Yeah, the Tamiya paints are more... I think those are more geared towards airbrushing. Okay, just a bit of green left on the palette here, so we'll switch to another color once this is used up. Now this guy. Okay. I think we'll paint the pants green, and then we'll go back over some of the... because I can see some clearly defined straps there, so we'll have the cloth be green. Yeah, it's nice that this unit, like, the guys' outfits are all varied, because it just makes the unit look pretty interesting, if you ask me. And I guess we probably got to get some of the green outline around here. And maybe, like, if I want, like, maximum variety, really, I just, like, I can paint on the body double for this one in the unit, the one that uses the same, like, legs and torso. I can paint the pants a different color, so it's just, I just have the ultimate freedom, really, to stick within a palette, grant you, but it is a palette that I picked out, sort of. I picked out, you know, a shade of brown to use on a thing that, you know, the mini painting rules in my head say, like, that should be brown, because it looks like leather. I thought this looked like a metal knee pad at first, but it doesn't look like that on the other pant. So we're going to say that that is also the green pants. Also, just let me know if I've been getting the mini out of focus of the camera enough, or too many times. I think I've been alright with it so far. Oh, we're almost been streaming for an hour. Man, this guy could probably use some more. Is that kind of looks like... I'm trying to decide whether I want to paint this part green or not. Because this looks like a fur trim which goes around. But this, I think we could paint that green. I think that'll look alright. All right. Mr. Hobby. Commander Farsight does have some char energy to him, or char energy, I should say. Alright, green. Done for now. I think we'll do some black next. See, on this guy we painted his bow black. Boots. And where's my black at? Now we're on to modern game color. I think I can still use in this brush even though the tip isn't great. Well, we'll just start with the boots and the bow, and then we'll figure out the rest after. And then I think the color we'll do after this, there's like a kind of dark mahogany brown I have. Well, it's not super dark, but I start with, or like I've painted some of it on here already. That's the color mixed with black already, so probably do that next. Oh, we might as well do an initial rimming of the base while we're here. Is that part of the shoe? Okay, this guy, it's like we got a leather bit of the boot and a shoe. It looks like that's what's going on, but it also kind of looks like all one big boot. It's kind of hard to tell, actually. So I'm going to paint the bow. That's what's the interesting challenge of painting this 100 Kingdoms army. It's like you see lots of different, like, leather armors, boots, straps, harnesses. And you gotta figure out, like, what the best way to block the color for them would be. You know, a lot of the time it's easy to come to it. If you're, like, having trouble, you can easily find some reference photos to look at. Or, you know, the box art. Sometimes it's a puzzle I like to just try and figure out, though. Nice shot of the mold line I didn't clean up here. Yeah, I was building these minis in the same batch as like my household guard and a bunch of Spire stuff, so I was going speedy through most of the cleanup process. It plans to string the bow? No, I don't usually do bow stringing. It's yeah, that's pretty intense, bow stringing, but highly respect it when I see someone who has done that, because it looks great. I suppose it would look even better on these conquest minis with them being larger scale. I was gonna paint this black, but I don't think that'll look right. Oh, this is obviously gonna be silver because it's chainmail. Got various bits of cloth here that I'm not sure what color I want to paint. Yeah, this whole jerkin could have been, okay, I think what I'm gonna do is some of these parts I'm gonna paint over them black, and then we're gonna make this jerkin that dark mahogany color. We're just gonna change the mind of past me there. Looks like that this collar part has to be black, but it only kind of exists on one side of his collar, which is interesting. Could probably use to switch to a more fine control brush, but I don't really want to interrupt the flow. Looks like I'm doing well enough without it. Yeah, gray is definitely a sufficient highlight for white. I like to use, or the closest thing to like a white project I've done, I use like a more blue gray, but you know, that gives your white a cooler look, so it depends. Yeah, Sparkster, have you ever put strings on bows of minis? Is that a thing you like to do with yours, or are you more of a mecha person? And we might as well give him some black boots. It does look like there is a separation of material there. So he's just wearing like some leather leg guards, we'll say. I think we'll leave. Yeah, what do we do for those arm guards? We'll put like a really thin coat of black over them, so they'll be just a bit of a darker color than what the jerkin's gonna be. Just a sort of lazy glaze. A glazy, you could say. No, that's bad. That's a bad pun. Thinking of the old Warhammer, eh? Plague models are ultramarines. That's describes two very distinct painting styles there, you know. Well, I guess you can paint Space Marines in so many different ways, which is part of the appeal. But you know, the traditional way of painting Space Marines is a bunch of edge highlighting, so if you think you'll enjoy that, you could go with Ultramarines. Oh, you spent a weekend putting together and painting Plague Marines. Nice. Maybe you should just get more Plague Marines then. They're like, you know, pretty fun to paint because you can put a bunch of blood, pus, and ooze all over them, you know. That classic Nurgle appeal. Okay, so we'll put through the shin guards on this guy black. And his bow, and it looks like that's all this one needs for black. I guess there's the boots as well, we'll say. Yeah, glaze them guts spilling out. That's some fun painting. But you can also do, I don't know if you can do the guts spilling out part if you're doing ultramarines, but you can do some like cool grim dark weathered ultramarines pretty easily. You don't have to do a clean edge highlighted space marine per se. Black might not be the right color for these bows, but I like the contrast it gives, and I don't know, it could just be like really dark lacquered wood. I'm not a bowyer, I don't know the materials. I mean, I know it's wood. It's a fantasy bow. It comes from a fantasy tree that doesn't exist where the wood is just black. And it's really good for making bows, you know? Sorry, bumped the mic there. Let's paint the boots. Now you're putting together a box of Primaris Intercessors as Salamanders. Super clean, nice. Yeah, ebony, that's the word I was looking for, Sparkster. Salamanders, that's a good Space Marine chapter. I like the Salamanders. If I was playing like the Horus Heresy game, I'd probably do Salamanders. Either Salamanders or the Emperor's Children. Depends on whether I want to be a heretic or not. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna do some base rim painting as well. Definitely didn't do that on the last guy. Nicest or naughtiest with those choices? Yeah, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's right. Because the salamanders are very like very benevolent in the Horus Heresy, right? We got a little sword there. We can paint that black. The scabbard, I mean. think it'd probably be more likely to be the salamanders. Because if I was gonna play a Slaanesh army, I would want to play them when they're like more mutated already and stuff. So I gotta fast forward the timeline a bit for that. Okay, paint this guy's hand guards black, or his knuckle guards. Should probably highlight that with some brown so it gets a bit more distinct than the bow. Okay, that's probably all the black this one needs. Well, let's do the base rim on this one before I forget. A nice relaxing base rim. This usually takes 2 coats, so I'll just treat myself to 1 coat now, and I'll save the second coat for when the mini's actually done. Also, with how dynamic these rangers' poses are, it's not the greatest for like ranking up on the stands. But it's doable. They're not as bad as the Spires unit I have called the Strix, which are like flying bird drones. Those are pretty rough to rank up. But with enough grit and determination, you can do it. Okay, this guy just needs the base rim. This coming week, I get to want to do one of my favorite recent annual New Year's traditions of watch the animated film Red Line. Any of you heard of it? Yes, Miguel, these models are for the game Conquest, Last Argument of Kings. I'm gonna take this as a quick chance to just stand up a stretch, and I'll grab another model. I'll grab some models I finished painting recently that only the patrons have seen, so those of you watching the stream can get a special treat. It only looks like one of you is watching right now. Oh, you definitely need to see Red Line. Okay, well, I'll bring those models over. I'll show them off when there's a couple more people watching. Just brought one over, but it's the biggest one. It's my custom kit-bashed mounted noble lord. I'll just put that off to the side. I'll show it off again later when there's more people. Hopefully there's more people, you know. At the end of the day, I'm here to paint and just share it with y'all, but it's a, you know, similar to the concept of line goes up, makes smiley face. It's always nice when there are people watching the stream, but I understand with my channel's strong association with Gunpla why the streams with minis would not do as well. That's the classic dilemma for my channel from day one, though, so whatever. I think I'll probably try and do, I mean, we gotta do at least an hour and a half, so I'm almost there. But I'm gonna stream in the morning, so I don't think I need to aim for a 3-hour stream or anything. Probably just 2 hours, but I might switch to gluing on some basing material on some more 100 Kingdoms minis as a like little intermission break when I need a break from the high octane painting for something a bit less dexterous, but we'll see. I could also just, you know, keep powering through this. It's not that it's too bad right now. I think I need to take this cardigan off, though. I'm getting kind of warm. Discovered me for gun plus stayed for the minis. Oh, well, that's what I like to hear. Thanks. I mean, you can stay for the gunpla and the minis. Because my life is gunpla and minis. I can't just pick one. I mean, come on. Oh, the purple. You talking about the purple cape, Miguel? Oh, we're back to the same 2 viewers. Yeah, I'll show it again here. Purple, red, and gold is a great combo, in my opinion. All right, what else? Okay, this guy's got his kind of breastplate. Yeah, I'll paint that black. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad I could inspire you that way, Miguel. Yeah, that goof video, that's one of, or that was like the first video on my channel that blew up. That's why so much of my audience leans towards gunpla over the minis, but it's always nice to hear when people, like you guys said, are also into the minis, or like were initially just here for the gunpla, but then also became interested in the minis. I like to promote the crossover like that. Because if you only stick into one or the other, you're kind of missing out. Okay, we'll paint the boots black like usual. Don't think it needs any more. Hello, tabletop warrior tuber. Good name. Got a gray standard. That's a good kit. Oh, and you get into infinity. Nice. Infinity is I think it's a pretty underrated sci-fi setting. You found the high-grade Kshatriya recently. Nice. That's a rare find from what I hear. And you also saw the goof video first. Yeah, I can see how the Kshatriya would be intimidating because it's pretty big. I've seen it in person. It's still a high grade. It's not like... It's big, but I don't think it's like that much more daunting. Okay, I don't think this needs any more black. Oh, other than the rim. We gotta do the rim. And it looks like there's just enough paint left on the palette for that. That's a good pun there, Sparkster. You don't want Marita Cruz to be mad at you for goofing it up. Yeah, there's a reason people call it the bell pepper. Or say that it looks like a bell pepper at least. Okay, I need to change my paint water. It is time. Sorry, just arranging some... Rearranging the minis to the side of me here. I will be back momentarily with fresh water. Okay, I'm back. Just gonna do some stretching before I sit back down. All right. There we are. So for which color to do next? Oh, did I miss doing some darker? Yeah, I did. I think I was probably planning to do black on that. I guess I'll do that quick. Oh, let's right, we change the water so we could refill the palette. Let's do that first, or re-moisten the palette sponge. It's important. And I'm not going to put any new black on. I'm just going to go for like a really thin black, so it's kind of just staining the brown. And we'll just see how it looks later. This is more about just blocking in the colors than it is getting the ideal base coat on. How do I feel about painting and assembling conquest minis? They look really good. Some of them, in terms of building, some of them are not the easiest models to build, which Parabellum's been getting better with as they improve their sculpting and manufacturing. So like some of the first generation models, like this Noble Lord here, is like a bit more frustrating in terms of the cleanup and assembly. But these Rangers are a lot newer, and this kit, I love this kit. It was a blast. Definitely can recommend. In terms of painting, I've had a good time painting all of them, really. Maybe like some of the first gen, like the first gen Men-at-Arms. The minis themselves can be a little janky and hard to get inspired to paint sometimes, but I compensate for that by making the shield pattern I freehand onto them a bit more interesting, or a bit more involved, you could say. Fur trim, that's what I was gonna do. I think only one of these three has this guy's got fur trim. This guy does not. Although we could use this color to do the hair. Sure. Does this guy have fur? No. Alright, so we'll use this color on two of them. What color is this? This is grunge brown from the new Vallejo game color. I hear the conquest, like the newer factions, like the city-states, and I guess I've assembled some of the Old Dominion and Wadroon. They've been pretty good to assemble overall. Really nice detail on them, and I've heard from like the city-states players that like they're designed well in the sense that like the capes cover up the mold lines from other areas, and it's just like efficient that way. And you know, it was just yesterday they revealed the minis for the new faction, the Sorcerer Kings, and I'm sure they've taken a lot of the stuff they've learned and applied it to how they develop those models, and they'll be even better to assemble. They look pretty sweet. Unfortunately, I'm resisting really hard to like make plans to get a third army, because I still got so much to do for my 100 Kingdoms and Spires minis. It's just like the classic problem of like, the new shiny thing being new, shiny, and enticing. Maybe it's because, this is kind of this. The logic doesn't check out, because I'm probably not the only one thinking this, but I'm like, oh, there's already lots of Spires and 100 Kingdoms players. I want to get a new one. But if I go for like the new shiny faction, there will also be a bunch of other people doing that. So I would just end up in the same place. But at the end of the day, I don't really have a problem if I'm playing a faction that a lot of other people play. That's like the case for games with not as many factions. But Parabellum has done pretty well in releasing basically like a new faction a year for their, as far as I know, for their entire existence. What was it? Faction? Maybe it hasn't been their entire existence. Maybe it wasn't until their like second or third year. Let's see. Last year was city states. Before that was Wadroon, I believe. And then before that was Old Dominion. The year I really started getting into Conquest was 2021, and that was Old Dominion. Okay, Old Dominion was after the Wadroon, actually. I think. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this neck part being green now, but I'm gonna stick with it. For now, can always change your mind later. Alright, this guy's gonna be a bit of a ginger. I think I want to switch to a better brush though. Or a brush with more control. Got this nice taped up army painter. I think it's called the Insane Detail brush, but I like the triangle shape of these brushes, but this part, like the plastic coating, just chips off really easily. So I always end up having to tape them. Like you can see it's just bare wood at the end here. This guy's got a bit of a Viking hairstyle going on. Maybe it's not quite Viking. I don't know what you'd call this. Celtic style, yeah. And yeah, I have about as much clue painting hair as I do painting skin, as in I just wing it every time. Because, you know, I've got a bit more experience painting, like, mecha. I mean, I guess I probably have more experience painting miniatures than I do painting Gunpla, but my try-hard energies have gone more into the mecha side of things, so when it comes to painting, you know, just a bunch of little medieval guys, it's pretty... It's rudimentary is the word I'm looking for, maybe. I don't know, I'm having a good time painting. That's the important part. Alright, let's just do another coat on this guy's fur trim before we switch. I put a bit too much paint on the palette. Maybe we should just keep working on this color and just do the highlight while we're at it. This unit is a good example of how it's useful to have a bunch of different browns in your paint collection if you're painting lots of like fantasy style miniatures, because there's always a variety of textures that will call for some kind of brown. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do a quick highlight with this. We'll just mix in some of the good old pale sand, everyone's favorite. Oh, that was probably too much. This bottle's pretty full, so after shaking it, sometimes it splooges out a bit uncontrollably. Uncomfortable might be the right word to use, actually, considering I just said splooge. Yeah, that's a bit too much, don't you think? Bit of a waste of paint, oh well. I basically just mixed a skin tone there. Actually, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I can work on a bit of skin while I'm doing this. Let's just do that. Let's just do some on the fly improvising like that. Let's grab this brush. Gotta save this part. Oh, you can't see the palette. Let's fix that. Gotta save this part for the green highlight, so when we're dragging the brush across the palette, we gotta go the other way. Just thinking ahead there. Yeah, is this guy wearing gloves? It kind of looks like he's wearing gloves. But they could be fingerless gloves. It's always a bit tricky. Okay, I'm gonna say he's not wearing gloves. For now, I could always change my mind on that later. And of course, witness the mold line across his knuckles that I did not clean up. Typical Liam. Typical model Mayhem. Okay, witness me wing it and wing it when it comes to painting a face. Cause I don't think I'm great at it. I'm also winging it with this color mix. I just like accidentally mixed a skin tone when I wasn't even painting skin, but I'm like, well, let's just go with it. Oh, so I don't know how long I was out of focus there. Just made the camera a little bit darker. Also, I'm gonna have to put in a bit of extra brush work around. He's got like a scar on his forehead, so I want to make sure that looks, you know, scar-like. Okay, let's grab... the flesh wash is not at the desk. Oh wait, no, I was thinking of the wrong... I'm thinking of a different flesh wash. I think we do have... Yeah, let's see how the P3 flesh wash looks. Flesh wash. All the painting makes you want to paint too? Good, Miguel. Good. Hello, Robert. I didn't see that weapon, but it sounds cool. Probably, I think I'll use a different wash when it comes to doing the fur trim on this guy and a different highlight, because we want the fur to look different from the guy's hair, you know? And typically I would have done some initial work on the eyes before doing this step, but that's totally fine. Oh, we're coming a bit loose. And we are putting this flesh wash on the hair as well. Just making it do double duty. Now sponge up some excess. Yeah, it's looking pretty alright, I think. Yes, I do wish that I had cleaned up the mold line better, but only a little bit, not enough to do it now. Hopefully y'all can see how I'm trying to get the wash to go into all those recesses on the face, but not pool too much. Which can be a little tricky. Alright, when that's dry, we can go back to highlighting his hair. Well, if it's a meteor hammer and gunblade and katana staff weapon, that sounds like it would work for a multi-class character that's playing like a spellcaster and a melee specialist that also has taken the tavern brawler feat to do thrown weapon damage or something. Hello, Art. The video I have in the works right now has some gunpla and minis in it. It's probably not going to have any new gunpla, but I have gunpla projects in the works, no specific videos. Like you'll see, the next gunpla thing you see on the channel will be in live stream form for sure. I'm having to job search right now because the YouTube payments aren't paying the bills, so I don't have a ton of time to make full-on videos, which sucks. But that's capitalism, baby. Yeah, in terms of in terms of just projects, not not mentioning any potential videos, I have 2 Gundam or like I guess 3 technically Gundam projects in the works right now. Suppose I could show. Yeah, I'll show off. I know I said at the beginning of the stream I would show some stuff. Oh, good, we got 8 people now. Well, here's a painted mini from the 100 Kingdoms that just the patrons have seen. It's a finished custom Noble Lord character. And let's just move those out of the way. I got some Gundam, or I got a few whip projects off to the side I can talk about for 5 minutes. This can be just a quick soft painting break. Well, so the first kind of whip project is a really janky one. It's for a terrain for, you know, wargaming. This is a fake plastic IKEA plant. This one's pretty big. Then we got a bunch of small ones here, and this is just like foam that I used to use for terrain. So I'm just gonna make some forest templates and like cut these, glue them onto like movable, placeable bases, so it's just like wargaming forest terrain. I'll paint over these as well. It's just a fun little side project because I need some more terrain for my gaming table. And I had all these I originally bought these plastic IKEA plants at the same time I bought the very useful product that I recommend. Is this jar of decorative rocks. Dift is very cheap, and I've used a ton of these rocks. Like that Iron-Blooded Orphans diorama project used those rocks. So this is one thing you might see on stream in the future. There's just gonna be a lot of variety streams, or the idea is I don't have a lot of time to make videos, but I can like stream. So, but like I don't want to do a bunch of mini painting streams in a row because then I'll get burnt out on it, and you'll get tired of watching it. So I'll just alternate between Gunpla and minis a lot. I did a stream with this and the old school Dragon Gundam, and yeah, it's the Hama Hama. And if you watch the stream that I attempted to build this on, at a point it came apparent like, oh, this is definitely one that requires glue. So I'd like to finish this on a stream eventually as well, because it's a very charming, janky model. Some parts of it like go together, push fit, but other parts like definitely need glue. And I want to see it put together because it's just, I mean, just look at this box art. Oh, I mean, so many of the Zeta and Double Zeta designs are just crazy and amazing. Then another Gunpla project in the works now. I'll just open this up and then let you guess. Do any of you recognize some of the bits in this box? Robert, don't DM me because I won't answer it, or I won't look at it. Just put it in the channel that kind of stuff's meant for. I don't have the time to really check any Discord server that I'm in regularly, but you know, I don't have any reason to leave the Discords I do join. It's like I have enough time to update them with work in progress photos when I got those, and when I got new streams or videos that are relevant, but other than that, like, I don't have the time to check them throughout the day. Yes, the Hama Hama. So this, the Kit Bash project I did for a video. What was that? I guess it would have been May 2023. I did like a Iron-Blooded Orphans Leftovers Kit Bash. And so the bits for that are in here, but I also built some, I think there was a post I made that had pictures of McGillis's Schwable Greys or whatever it's called. So I've got some bits for that in here, as well as some other miscellaneous bits that I wanted to try and use. And this Kit Bash project is getting even more Kit Bashed. And this will be an eventual Gamma Wolves model. So this has just kind of been, both of these are just like, I've probably explained to, or some of you have heard me explain before, how like my hobby style is very all over the place, like, or very ADHD, you could say, where I just have a lot of projects I start and then I get distracted and start another project or work on something else. Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. You know, it doesn't really matter if you're not painting, like, not being commissioned and have actual deadlines. So I figure I could try and use it to my advantage and just, like, embrace the switching between projects. If it means I'm, like, continuously getting stuff done, it's like projects don't get finished as often, but I'm working on a wider variety of stuff, which is more enjoyable for my hobby brain, at least. Yes, Miguel, it is an IBO kit. Anyways, back to painting this dude's hair. Let's see, how is his face looking? Pretty good, I'd say. Need to do a bit of color maintenance on the palette here. Let's see what kind of shades we got going on. 50 shades of gray, more like 50 shades of chestnut, auburn. Yeah, I could probably be convinced to just leave the skin where it's at now. To be honest, how's the skin looking on the other folks here? I think these guys looking a bit on the paler side of things. So perhaps this guy will we'll use some of this. Darken down his skin a bit. I will not be checking that Discord tonight, Robert. Sorry to say. I'm an elusive lurker online. I don't have my own Discord that I check. I just lurk in the shadows and emerge to share a thing I'm working on and go live or release a video, and then I retreat back into the shadows. So it's hard to get me to look at anything like that. And I don't know, it's just Discord etiquette, I guess. You gotta have a pretty good reason to justify, like, adding someone or sending them something directly. I can't really I'm not a 2D artist or anything, so I'm not qualified to give art critiques or anything. And yeah, I don't really have the time to be checking up on every Discord I'm in. And I think a lot of people are like that, so that's why my idea for Discord etiquette is to not just DM people art that you want to share with them, unless you have some sort of prearranged thing where they're giving you, like, an art critique. But please don't let any of the stuff I said discourage you from sharing it in the appropriate channels for sharing things. And I'm talking about, you know, a Discord server that isn't even mine, so you probably know the rules there better than I do. I think this guy's hair needs a bit to highlight still. Alright, I understand, Robert. Okay. Yeah, I don't want this to get too much brighter. I think I can get an effective highlight on the hair by using the side of the brush. Let's see. Miguel talking about the Gundam Explained Discord server. So, I'm sure if you go to Gundam Explain's YouTube channel, you can find a link for that somewhere. There's a few the Gundam server, or the public Gundam servers I'm in Project New Type. That's New Type with a U. And then I'm also in one, I think it's just called New Types, like with an E. That one's run by the Gundam Universe. Yeah, the guy who runs the Gundam Universe Instagram page. I'm also in, it's called GNL, or yeah, it's called GNL, which is Gundam New Type Labs, which used to be a one for Gundam Breaker Mobile. I never played that game because I don't really play mobile games, but just a friend of mine runs that server, so he said I should post my Gunpla stuff in there. I'm also in the Gunpla Talk Show one. That one isn't that active these days. I'm in Gunpla Sisters. I'm in Crow-Sama's. But yeah, I'm in a decent amount of Gunpla ones, but I don't have the time to check any of them regularly. I think what I want to do, I want to make a quick and dirty mahogany wash. Just a little bit for the hair. This is Vallejo Game Color Dark Flesh Tone. It's a really nice, rich, darker brown. There's barely enough pigment on there, actually. We need a bit more. And we want to just apply this to the hair. That's a little subtle. We can add a bit more pigment, I think. He's looking quite ginger now. And I think I'll use this this lazy glaze on this kneeling down guy here on his skin to just differentiate his skin a bit. Because, you know, like I was saying earlier, I tend to make, or I don't stick to just one skin tone for my human armies. And then we'll use the rest of this paint here for his hair, and he can have this kind of mahogany hair. Yeah, this color is called Dark Flesh. Now, I've used it for flesh on a couple guys, but I've used it a lot more for just textiles or leathers. It's a pretty versatile color. It's like, it looks really good mixed with black. Yeah, and I've been doing all this with this brush that has an awful tip. So I guess that goes to show how much technique matters. But as I said that, I made a mistake, so take what I say with a pinch of salt, I guess. Which you should always do. Because it's just my opinion, man. And this hair looks like it could use a bit of black mixed in. Yeah, I was thinking I'd be highlighting the capes right now, but instead I've been distracted and working on the flesh. Which is good, because usually I procrastinate this part because it's hard. I guess right now I'm painting the beard, but you know, it's the face, the hard part. The point still stands. Just look at how loose the bristles are on this brush, oh my god. Okay, while this paint is still there, let's just quickly add a bit of black. Just darken down this hair. And do another kind of lazy wash. Or not another, the first one, I should say. This is why a wet palette is essential for me, because it just enables this quick on-the-fly mixing and improvising. Not that you can't do it without a wet palette, but I find it's a lot better with it. Also, I'm probably trying too hard on these faces and beards because I got... well, once this current batch is done, I'll have 8 more of these to paint. Oh no, we forgot his eyebrows. We're gonna need the smaller brush for that. Hello, Goblin. Howdy. Thanks for coming. What's good with you? Well, that was a messy eyebrow, or the issue there was the paint was too runny. Painting eyebrows is pretty hard. Not gonna lie. We messed up a bit there. Which we're gonna fix and it's gonna be fine. Yeah, I could almost use a black wash on the hair in some ways. Alright, well, we got some good skin tone on the palette to use up still, so let's use it up. Oh, we broke 2 hours, people. Look at that. You got the Gundam Typhodius at the shop I work at today. Oh, nice. Yeah, working at the hobby stores and stuff is a great way to acquire hobby stuff. Speaking from experience myself, the store I worked at definitely had a lot of items put by me onto the reservation spot. You know, I think all the staff that worked there were all interested in, you know, getting the products at a staff discount. Or that's like a big appeal of the job to them. It's like, oh, I certainly saved a bunch of money spending all that money on my niche hobby products. I'm definitely guilty of that. Need to just re-moisten this paint a bit. Starting to solidify. Just checking out that other guy's skin to see if I can call it done or not. I think I can. Man, it's hard to tell exactly where the eyebrow begins. Possibly become easier if we give a light flesh wash. Yeah, this guy's skin is the palest of the bunch. So we'll keep it pale and probably use it completely different bases. A completely different base for it. The question is, do I use this to... Maybe I could try a real delicate dry brush on the fur with this and see how it looks. Utopia Toys and Models. Is that American based or Canadian? Tamashi Nations RS TMF 802 Buku figurine this last week. Nice. I have a Buku high grade in my backlog. Been looking for the right, or I got it on a whim and I've just been waiting for the right opportunity. Okay, I can tell right away this needs to be darkened down. Yeah, I was wondering if anyone would notice that there's no music in the stream, Robert. So, good ear catching that. And yeah, I don't have a particularly good reason for no music on stream. There's just no music on stream tonight. I wanted to see if anyone would say anything. Or I was curious as to whether anyone would notice or say anything about it. I'm trying out different things for... What was the color I was looking for? Right, it was for the fur. I'm just trying out, like I was saying, I'm gonna be experimenting with things in 2024 in terms of changing up the format a bit. Part of that has to do with music, and I haven't figured out what I'm doing yet, so there's just no music for the stream tonight, but I wanted to stream anyways, and I'm like, well, I can definitely stream without music. Lots of people do that. But the fact that at least one person noticed is good to know. I mean, I'm sure other people noticed and just haven't said anything. This fur color's a little weird. I think I might need to give it a bit of its own wash. That's a different color from the main brown wash that'll go on. Yeah, it's a little funky looking. Let's go back to... Let's give this guy a flesh wash. Too busy painting to notice. Yeah, sometimes silence is... I've been ever since I've been, looking to change up the format a bit, I've been, trying to pay attention more to the content I watch, whether it's a live stream or a video. And some people, it's like there's there'll be 2 or 3 different tracks within 10 minutes in a video, which works, and it's doing a good job keeping the viewer engaged and everything, whereas some people, just only talking, no music, or a bit of music at the beginning, but then no talking again until the end. Gotta remember to do the fingers. Or the fingies, as some people say. Time to let that dry. Now, oh, I know what I can do while I'm waiting for that to dry. We can just quickly lay down a little bit of metallics, because there are some... Actually, the metallics should be done probably at the end. It's hard to say. Yeah, because they're going to need a separate wash than the rest. Oh, you won a Cybaster kit from 1999. Nice. Cybaster is pretty cool. Deadpool as a Borg. That would certainly be something. Okay, I think there needs to be... Looks like there's a bit of flesh showing on his elbow there. Does that mean... Yeah, I guess this guy also has that. So we should get the flesh on this guy's elbow done while it's on the palette. This guy will say he's got sleeves. Okay, that should be the ideal use for the rest of the paint on here. Ideally, I could have done this earlier. But we're doing it now. That's the important part. And just a tiny bit of flesh showing there. Okay, well that's drying. Go back to the face. These faces, I was expecting them to give me a bit of a harder time, but so far the two that I've done have been pretty okay. I think the last one out of this batch, he's gonna have the palest skin, so that'll be the most challenging one probably. Is there any wash left on here? Maybe, just barely. Yeah, I think I've got to use some more. That was too much, but it's too late now. It's gonna be spill over into the cloth on his arm, but it's kind of inevitable. It needs another base coat anyways. this could almost be painted as metal, actually, now that I'm looking at it, but no, actually it makes more sense to do leather. Alright, I'm just doing a check over of what colors need to be blocked next. We're kind of getting there. The next, I might, oh right, we were going to, yes, I remember now. Can paint this guy. Okay, so we use up, yeah, we pretty much used up the flesh on there. So let's mix that dark mahogany I was talking about, because this guy's, whatchamacallit, jacket needs it. And right, we'll do a selective, a more of a targeted selective wash on this guy. I think we need to grab just some almost pure pale sand. Let's just put it there. Use that for his fur. Okay, so we'll come back to this guy with the dark mahogany. I think this guy we can just set aside probably for the rest of the stream. Do need to mix a bit more of it. I just want to brighten up this color. Oh, yeah, this looks too pink. Thinking this is looking too pink. Well, I'm going to commit to this now, and then I'll grab my fairly strong sepia wash and put it over top. See how that makes it look. I was going to say, it doesn't look like natural fur, but maybe it's just like some fantasy creature, you know? That's the excuse I can always pull out of my back pocket. Well, it's like Conquest ain't set in North America. What did you think this was, a marmot? And who knows, maybe there are marmots in the world of Conquest. Like, I'll have to send an email to their lead writer. Okay, let's grab that sepia wash. Oh, we're almost at 2.5 hours. I was feeling pretty tired at the like hour-and-a-half mark, but now it feels like I've hit a second wind, so look at me go. Just got some Vallejo Game Color Sepia Wash. I bought this to see if it would be a suitable replacement for Army Painter Strong Tone. Or not Army Painter Strong Tone, Secret Weapon Sewer Water, because that paint line is discontinued and I need it for my Spire's army, but this is unfortunately not the same shade of gray, so, or a shade of brown. Definitely not gray. So the search continues. Well, it's definitely making that part look less pink. Well, we'll have to see what that looks like when it's dry. This guy will have black hair. Let's work on his, well, let's just use the skin color that's kind of on the palette now to just give it a bit more of a warmer foundation. Then we'll do some hair and then back to the skin. Because this guy will still end up having very pale skin. Yeah, see, now I'm feeling like I can make it to 3 hours for the stream. But let's hope, if I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, well, two things. I think of doing a stream in the morning and, you know, just leaving all the stuff set up. And also, I could have my, or if I end my stream and Country Fried Minis is still streaming, I can try the, like, feature that YouTube live streaming has that's like the equivalent of a raid in Twitch. Because I should have looked to see if he was streaming before I scheduled my stream for tonight. I mean, I guess I didn't really have to wait. Everyone's entitled to stream whenever, me included. But it's like, you know, in an ideal world, I finish streaming just as someone else I want to support is booting up their stream, and then I can just, you know, shove all the people watching me over to another stream, just like a Twitch raid. It's just, this is my first stream of the year. I'm taking a fairly casual approach, you know, baby steps. Perhaps the future holds further coordination. All right, we got some game color pale flesh here. This is what's gonna make this guy a bit more distinct from the other two. Let's just compare how similar the other two's skin tone look. It's like fairly different. One of them has a bit more reds in it. Come on, camera. Fairly different. This is just, I've got this batch of 4 rangers that we have here is just 4 out of the 12, and they're all kind of Caucasian looking, but we'll have some more varied skin tones with the other members. See you, Robert. The Borg Pool Collective. And that sepia wash did some good work on the fur there, I think, actually. Yeah, this pale flesh is... I've had a bit of a hard time working with it in the past. I'm still trying to figure out well, with flesh in general, I'm still just figuring out how to even do it, so... Oh yeah, this guy does have facial hair. I should probably do the hair before doing this rough highlight. And I said he was going to have black hair. Stick to the tiny brush while we're doing that. The delicate mustache. and goatee. Oh, got a bit on his lips there. It's bound to happen somewhere. It's hard to tell whether this guy's goatee connects up top or not. Suppose I gotta mess up a bit to find out. And now to give him some cartoony eyebrows. Yeah, this is pretty cartoony. I need to work on my eyebrows. Ah, brush slipped there. Let's just mop up all that paint. Oh, that's rough. Good thing the skin still had a lot of work to do. Y'all probably saw that in real time. Sorry, I'm not. I should be facing more towards the mic. Oh, well, this... Okay, we're scrubbing some of it off. Disaster partially averted. This is why I should have done the hair first. Well, it's a good thing I wasn't fully satisfied with how his beard looks, because we're going to have to clean up that area for multiple reasons now. Now some of the pressure's off because of that. That's the silver lining. The pressure to paint this hair perfectly on the first try, that is. Okay, well, we'll come back to that one. Let's have an interlude to work on this lad. On his nice, dark chestnut jacket. This is the dark flesh tone mixed with the black. Creates a nice dark brown. Dark auburn, perhaps you could call it. I'm done painting this guy's jacket. We'll see how I'm feeling stream-wise. Because we're at 2 hours, 40 minutes, which is pretty good for the first stream back for the year. And I am going to stream again tomorrow morning. So hopefully I can catch the people that weren't able to make this stream. Next stream after that will probably be... I haven't decided yet. Possibly we could do the same thing, but Sunday night stream and then Monday morning. Depends. Sometimes my parents will invite me over for dinner on Sunday. In which case I might not do a live stream. I don't have it on my to-do list to make a stream schedule or anything yet, but I'd like to, see how things go for this first bit of the year and see if there is like an ideal time for me to set a stream schedule. It's hard to say because that's whatever schedule I do set would probably go out the window once I'm like switching into the editing mode to like release a mainline YouTube video, but that should be fine in theory. My parents, yeah, I'd say so. My dad is an audiophile who like makes his own speakers and like amplifiers, like wires them himself and gets like really down into the nitty-gritty details with it. Like calibrates his speakers and rewires them and all that very hands-on stuff. I'd say I don't know if that counts as like a crafty hobby per se, but it's definitely like a similar vibe. It's a hobby he gets just as into as I tend to with the minis stuff. Just seeing if there are any spots I missed on that one. This guy, I think we'll use this mix on his leg armor a bit here. Actually, we need a small brush. Alright, good night, Miguel. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. And I'm kind of going for like a rough approach here to like purposely show some like brush strokes in a way to just give it like a rugged leather look. Alright, we can also do a bit of rough highlighting on this guy's bracers. Got a nice dry brush friendly texture here. Not quite doing a dry brush technique, but it's, yeah, no, it's not really dry brushing, but it's similar in the sense that I'm just trying to only hit the raised areas. Sorry, I keep holding it out of frame. Okay, that might be all the use I can get out of that color for now. So I think we got to go back to working on this guy's skin, and we do need to clean up some mistakes here. I guess I'll mix with this. This looks like a palette that will be worth saving at the end of the project because it'll have a lot of nice nature-y colors in it. Okay, now I'm making some mistakes over the strands of hair I painted, but it's fine. That's easier to fix than making hair mistakes onto the skin. I think it does look right for his goatee to be like connected. Okay, I think that's looking decent. Yeah, those eyebrows just always give me a hard time. Let's do a quick correction on the hair and then we'll put some wash on. It does, yeah, it's got a Frank Zappa look. Yeah, there's lots of very good head sculpts in the newer Conquest minis. And this guy looks very pale right now. Only one little mistake to clean up this time. As far as I can tell, maybe I missed one. Oops, sorry, bumped the mic. That's just under the eyebrow. Okay, time for some flesh wash. Let's grab the GW one just to, again for variety of skin tones. Yeah, I think this one probably a bit more brown. And the P3 one I was using before is a bit more red. Alright, it's time for just a big splotch of wash on you, buddy. Whatever, might as well cover the hair too. It can just be a very, very dark brown looking hair. Gotta remember to do his exposed elbow. And the hands. Doing the skin now because as you can see it's, you know, a bit of a messier stage in terms of it's easy to get paint into the surrounding areas. And now we're dabbing up the excess on the face. Don't want to dab up too much though because we still, you know, want it to be shaded. Oftentimes I do dab up some and then go back to just re-add it until it's like looking just right or right enough. A lot of times I would also be doing painting the eyeballs themselves before doing this stage, but I guess I'm not doing that this time. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do for the rest of the stream is there's just some paint on the palette I'm gonna use up on some crossbowmen, so y'all are gonna get a special bonus spoiler for a future stream that'll be very similar to this one because I'm using the same colors, but it's crossbows instead of bows. So let's just get these guys in their cubby holes. And just gonna grab a crossbow or two. These are first generation Parabellum models, so The difference in sculpting quality between these and the Rangers is very apparent. Okay, well, we'll use some skin tone. Yeah, we'll just use it for skin tone on both of these. Because, you know, I don't want the paint to go to waste. Trying to figure out where the skin part of his hand starts and the glove part starts. This paint is a little too thin. Gonna have to compensate with some extra coats. I don't want this guy's skin to like match the leather armor he's wearing, so we'll just do a quick little mix on the fly here. That's a little more gray than I wanted. Now that'll do. I do like the hats these mercenary crossbowmen have, but they're a little hard to paint around. Maybe we'll just mix some kind of pseudo or a lazy glaze again for the other guy. Look at me just sloshing paint all around. And I guess the really messy part of the palette isn't quite in frame. Now let's go to a smaller brush. probably too bright. So I just got in the zone with this last bit here. Just about used up this paint though. Well, it's about, it's just after 10. Trying to think of when I'm going to stream tomorrow. Well, I think considering everything's set up already, I can just kind of plug in and go tomorrow morning. I'll stream at 9 a.m. my time. So that's in like 10.5 hours or so. Not that I'm expecting any of you watching now to also watch again in the morning, but heck, if you do, I'm always happy to have you. Okay, just gonna wipe some off from the edge to make sure we don't get any bleeding into the sponge overnight, because that would be bad. So yeah, right after I'm done going live here, I'll just schedule the one for the morning right away and just stay on the ball, hopefully. Now let's see if I can dig around on the YouTube stream dashboard quick and see if... Okay, well, I have Country Fried Minis' channel open in another tab. Let's see if he's still live. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like we both streamed in like the exact same window at times, so I'll have to try and coordinate next time. Oh well. Perhaps one day we'll have this thriving stream rating network like they do on Twitch. Okay. Let's bring the Rangers back onto the screen just as I wrap things up here. Maybe I'll surprise you all and paint something completely different tomorrow. Probably not, though. Oh, let's bring the fancy horse guy on here as well. Alright, well, thank you all for tuning into this stream. It was nice to come back and have everything work, more or less. Happy to be back. And yeah, we'll stream again tomorrow morning. And hopefully the next stream after that can be a Sunday evening or Monday evening. Or I have plans on Monday, but I think I might still be able to do Monday evening. Anyways, I'll stop rambling now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.